Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management, tax season time. You got to scan documents, that kind of stuff. Put everything in the cloud. You can do that. I have a feeling I'll be doing a lot of that here shortly. When can I expect our documents, by the way, since you're the CFO?
What are we talking about now?
Taxes.
For the OG?
Yeah.
Oh, we just got to talk to our guy.
I mean, I don't know. Like, you know how it is. Like, typically,
well, the OG paid quarterly taxes this year.
Yeah, but I'm talking about personal taxes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this should be. We just got to check in with our guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand we got until April, but I don't know. Just thought.
No, it won't. It won't be that long.
Okay.
But our K1 is what you're looking for.
That's what it's called, right? I'm still getting used to this whole LLC business. Like, we don't get a W-2 anymore.
We do not.
We get a K1.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. Do we have
self-employed?
Do we have a good 2025 or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was better than I thought it was going to be.
I mean,
I shouldn't say it wasn't as good as 24. I don't know that answer yet, but it's definitely better than I thought it was going to be.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. That's good. Hey,
you don't want to be too good now because
I know.
Remember, OG Media then's going to owe taxes.
I understand.
Which I'm kind of anticipating.
Well, speaking of better than anticipated, that was the Carolina Hurricanes last night. They pulled the Uno reverse card.
Yes, instead of giving up a 3-goal lead.
Yeah. I
like that.
Yeah, they had a 3-1 deficit in the third. They Uno reversed that thing to get it to overtime. And then Andrew Kopp decides to just push Ghost Spare out of the way, cross-checks him in the back. And that's why he was sitting there wide open in front of Freddie Anderson, and they get the overtime winner. I did joke last night. I did not realize that last night was Fedorov night, Sergei Fedorov night. And
that's not a name I had in my Rolodex for this week, to be perfectly honest with you. I read the AP story.
Like,
too.
Who do we be talking about today?
Like Sergei Fedorov?
Well, my thing was, I didn't realize. I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame. He got into the Hall of Fame like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was like 10 or 11 years ago. He got into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And
super important Russian player.
Yeah. And then I'm now like, wait a minute, it's 2026 and they're just now getting around to honoring his jersey in Detroit?
I feel like there's always some pettiness when it comes to the Red Wings and the Ilitch family and Little Caesars.
Yeah.
Did you get the wrong pizza or something?
Clearly, there were some bridges that needed to be rebuilt, and I thought it was appropriate. I'm like, because again, I did not know it was Fedorov night until I actually watched the game in Garner during Jacob's hockey practice. I had it on TV in the lobby.
Where all good things happen.
Of course, in the Garner. So I went, wait a minute, are they really doing Fedorov night against the Hurricanes? Well, that was a choice. That's clearly a choice. Come on, dude. That had to be a choice that they did it against the Carolina Hurricanes because part of the bad blood between Fedorov and the Red Wings was over the Canes in an offer sheet back in 1999. Now, for those, all right, this is where we get into a little bit of brief history, if you will. Back when the Hurricanes weren't the Hurricanes as we know them today, in 1998, there's all sorts of lore between Peter Karmanos, the owner of the Hurricanes at the time, and Mike Ilitch, who's no longer with us. I believe he passed away in 2017. But the Ilitch family still owns the Red Wings. But Peter Karmanos and Ilitch had a lot of beef with each other. Originally, Karmanos wanted to move he wanted to move the Whalers to Detroit. Ilitch was like, hell no, that's not happening. Also, you got youth hockey beef, because everything comes back to youth hockey beef. Both Ilitch and Karmanos had very successful, to this day, juniors teams.
Yeah, there was CompuWare, and then there were the junior Red Wings.
Yes. Shout out to Bell Tire, too. They got a team up there as well.
Yeah.
So there was beef about that as well, because I believe that CompuWare used to play in the old Joe Louis Arena, and Ilitch was like, get the hell out.
Get out of here.
So they moved him out to the Burbs or something like that.
The Hurricanes logo is actually supposed to be some sort of homage to the Red Wings wheel.
So you go back into the Wayback Machine in 1998, and as like a big fuck you to the Red Wings from Peter Karmanos to Mike Ilitch, when there was a holdout between Fedorov and the Red Wings, they gave him a $38 million offer sheet that he signed, that Fedorov signed.
Right. And just remember, when restricted deals, you don't have to sign them. Just because they're offered to you doesn't mean you got to sign them.
But he signed it.
Correct. Much like Sebastian Aho with the Montreal Canadiens. He didn't have to sign it.
He didn't have to sign it, but he signed it because he and the Red Wings were going through it. And there's the gemstones, as you like to say. If we call up Dr. Strange and hey, can you give me the million permutations of life here? There was a moment in time in which Fedorov could have been a Carolina Hurricane because he signed the offer sheet.
Absolutely.
No. But at the time on the offer sheet, not to get too deep in the weeds on collective bargaining, but the baseline remains the same. You as a team have the right to match said offer sheet.
Right.
Now, the shocker here, if I remember correctly, the shocker here was that Karmanos, knowing full damn well in an incentive-laden offer sheet that there was no way in hell that one of the incentives was going to be met. I believe one of the incentives was if you get to the conference finals, you will get a lump sum of all your bonuses
right.
in 1 year, as opposed to it being spread out over the course of 4 years or something like that, right? So Karmanos, being the asshole here, goes, man, we ain't making the damn conference finals. But Detroit was running super, super hot at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough, after Detroit matches it, they had to match the bonus structure, which meant that Fedorov got paid $28 million in a lump sum because they won the cup that year, right? I think he only played. Yeah. I think he only played for like 3 months that season.
They went back to back,
and they went back to back, and he ended up getting a $28 million lump sum. That's my like off the top of my head kind of remembrance of that time. So all that being said,
now
when I
on.
saw the game, what?
But hold on,
yeah,
because this is super important.
Okay,
this is 98.
Yes,
and it was a long-term deal.
Yes,
if they have Fedorov, the Hurricanes never have the ability to trade Keith Primo for Rod Brind'Amour. They never have the ability to sign Rod Brind'Amour to a long-term deal. They never have the ability to go to the Stanley Cup in 2002. They never have the ability to win the Stanley Cup in 06. So move Dr. Strange, move Dr. Rutherford, move the gemstone here. And there's no Rod Brind'Amour.
No.
There's no Stanley Cup. There's no Carolina culture. There's no 7-year streak of making the playoffs.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no OG media. There's no After Dark. Like,
wow, we're taking it all the way. We're taking it all the way.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're in a world of hurt if Sergei Fedorov and Mike Ilitch don't come to peace.
This is true.
So
this is true.
We owe a debt of gratitude to the Red Wings and Sergei Fedorov.
Of course, you bring up 02. The irony is that Fedorov was kind of instrumental
on the ice. One of the 6 Hall of Famers on the ice for the Red Wings on that draw that they win and score the game tying goal.
But the Canes almost had him because you know how we feel about this.
Speaking of the gemstones, move it just
a little bit. And the Canes win that Stanley Cup in 02, even without Sergei Fedorov. But that's neither here nor there. All that is to say, you're telling me that the Canes being the opponent at Little Caesars for Fedorov night wasn't planned with all of what we just laid out from the Ilitch family?
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. All right. And going back to the end of the game, you're telling me the NHL said, ain't no way the Red Wings are losing on Fedorov night. Ain't no way. Because it was a horrendously called game throughout. And of course, that gets to the end with Andrew Kopp pushing Ghost Despair out of the way.
And the Red Wings are like strangely spunky this year.
They're spunky this year. Yeah, they're actually a pretty good team this year. So Ghost Despair, understandably upset going after the officials, and Sebastian Aho had to kind of pull them away and have a calm conversation. And the NHL officials literally gave these guys the double birds after the game. This is from Corey Lavalette, as he put on Blue Sky. That's a choice after blowing a call. 2 game misconducts. 1 for Aho, 1 for Ghost Despair. Fun fact, that is Aho's first 10-minute misconduct of his career. So salute to Sebastian Aho. Put that one in the baby book. Here's Ghost Despair after the game.
way to end this one. What did you see on the final play leading to that goal in overtime?
I don't know. What'd you guys see? I mean, I don't just follow my own there. I mean, it's kind of tough. Maybe it happened too fast for the ref to see, but, he's wide open for a reason. But we got to move on. We got to take some positives away. Down 3-0 going to third, tough building the plan. Getting a point out of that is huge for us.
So on to the next one. Ultimately, his view is the right one. Got a point, but it didn't look like they were going to get a point last night. Keeps that thing going.
Yeah, I was sitting there kind of sort of following it because of the football game.
Yeah.
And I saw that they were down 3-0.
Yeah.
And after 2 periods, and I was like, and then I on the ESPN app.
Freddie's in net.
I was going to say, and then the ESPN pops up like save Freddie Anderson. I was like, oh no. I was like, it's a Freddie game. Of course, it's a Freddie game.
It was like 3 goals on 15 shots or something like that. I'm like, here we go.
And then they rally.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, here we go. Little third period, power play, little special teams.
Now we're talking.
And then in overtime, they usually win in overtime because their speed kills.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for them, there was a missed call. So
missed calls also kind of kill too. It's kind of amusing that the NHL put it out on social media like Andrew Kopp with the game winner. No context whatsoever. And
so 5-0-2 now with Slavin in the full lineup.
I think so. Yeah. And they had to mute their comments because everybody was roasting them. For just posting that context free. You mentioned the football game. So yeah, I ended up watching once the Canes got back in the game, I'm like, all right, let me focus on watching this game. And then when that game was over, I turned it over to the playoff game between the Steelers and the Texans just in time to watch Aaron Rodgers melt. Sacked, fumble, big man touchdown. And that essentially was your game. And this now leads us to the most exhausting conversations we will have this offseason. Conversation number 1 is what to do with Aaron Rodgers. What's his future like? All things considered, Aaron Rodgers had a pretty decent season. The Steelers essentially got the most you could get out of Aaron Rodgers this year.
Especially with no running game, 1 receiver,
and
a half a tight end, and Arthur Smith calling the plays.
And then they went up against the best defense in the NFL. Put a pin in that. We'll stop because we'll revisit that conversation shortly. They go up against the best defense in the NFL that has made quarterbacks. This defense is so good that you're completely forgetting that CJ Stroud had a game.
No, he didn't have an game. He was on the take. Like,
3 turnovers last night?
I'm watching this game,
but it didn't matter.
I'm like, what is happening? And then Warren Sharp tweeted this. He goes, CJ Stroud's first 35 minutes, 1 interception, which was in the red zone, by the way. 4 fumbles, 2 fumbles lost. Like my tweet was, check this man's bank transactions and his phone records.
Yeah,
because he's dialing up the DraftKings.
So look, with Rodgers, I think Rodgers has had Rodgers understands what he is. The Steelers understand what he is.
Super limited, can still get the ball out.
Yeah.
Can take some deep shots. He's yelling at his receivers and everybody else.
But when you go up against a defense like that, they're going to feast on you, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We'll see if I think the last play from Rodgers that maybe potentially we'll have seen was a pick 6, maybe potentially. I don't know. We'll see because that's going to be the debate. What is he going to do this offseason? Is he going to retire? Is he going to come back? And this is going to be an exhausting conversation because everything about Aaron Rodgers is exhausting. I was watching ESPN this morning, and they had Unsportsmanlike on TV. Like I'm making my coffee, whatever they're on. And Evan Cohen is going on and on and on about Aaron Rodgers deserves like a farewell. Like this is very underwhelming. I'm like, no, you get what you deserve. And Aaron Rodgers hasn't really done anything to endear himself to the masses. Okay. There's nothing warm and fuzzy about Aaron Rodgers. So no, he does not get that because he had opportunities to do that, but he decided against it. So no, you get what you get. That's what you are with Aaron Rodgers. That's going to be exhausting. Then we have the conversation around Mike Tomlin, where everybody's bending over backwards to say he's still a great guy. He's a great coach. The standard is the standard, all sort of stuff. But now we're looking at since 2016, 0-6 in the playoffs since 2016, and what to do with the Steelers, who have seen just about everybody else go through these resets, and they're still kind of stuck in this malaise of, are they going to get in with a winning season? Are they going to get in at the last minute like they did against the Baltimore Ravens? What's Mike Tomlin's future? Does another team hire him? Is he readily available? Like if he's available, he's going to get instantly hired, right? Yeah. It's kind of like Harbaugh. Or does he go to TV? There's all sorts of conversations to take place. But both of these conversations, I feel like we've gotten to the exhaustion point. We've said everything we've needed to say about Tomlin and the Steelers. We've said everything we needed to say about Aaron Rodgers at this point. Now what? Make a decision.
It's funny because our guy Jonathan texted me this morning about Arthur Smith and his play call. He's a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, man. And Jonathan's a State fan too. I was like, hey, man, he's Dave Doran. He controls everything. He does. Mike Tomlin controls everything. So it's not.
Okay. So where are we on the cycle of Mike Tomlin?
Here we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Steelers obviously are the exception in all professional sports with the frequency with which they hire coaches. Obviously. They are the rarest of rare in the sense that Bill Cowher, when he won his Super Bowl, was actually a second act for Bill Cowher, which is super rare.
Yes.
They should have moved on and were ready to move on from Bill Cowher due to other circumstances. We'll have that talk for another day. But they kept him in his second act. He ended up winning his one Super Bowl. Mike Tomlin, early in his career, ends up winning a Super Bowl with Ben Roethlisberger. It's, as we said about John Harbaugh, really good coach. It's sometimes you need a new message.
Yeah.
And I think in Baltimore, they have the right quarterback. Pittsburgh hasn't had the right quarterback since Ben's injury. They held on to Ben too long. They haven't had the right answers since Ben. And quite frankly, they don't lose enough to get a good quarterback in the draft. So they're in this cycle where you're solving problems. But all that really is getting you is this like very NC State like streak of there's 6 teams in college football who've won, 8 games against teams with 9 wins or more. And it's like, and cool. Like you've never had a losing record. Awesome. You also haven't won a playoff game in 10 years. So they're kind of in this very Dave Doran, NC State-esque state of things right now. So we'll see. It's time for a new message for Pittsburgh for sure.
Well, clearly,
and for Mike Tomlin, like go somewhere else and bring your positivity and bring your message and bring your swag and people will embrace that. It's not a bad thing.
Yesterday, I posed the question, and I think it applies to Mike Tomlin in the same way it applies to Nick Sirianni. He was applying to John Harbaugh, which they moved on in Baltimore. It applies to Sean McDermott the rest of the way with what they have in front of them in the AFC, right? How much leeway do you give to playoff coaches? And I do find it interesting that when Harbaugh, going back to the Harbaugh dismissal and a change of scenery, and he's going to get instantly hired wherever he wants, you'll remember that like Schefter had a tweet where he talked about how Harbaugh, and Schefter's clearly getting this through the agent, that more teams contacted Harbaugh about his interest in their job than there were actual vacancies. So at that time, I think when Schefter had put that out, I want to say there were 6 teams that actually had fired their coaches, but 9 or 10 had contacted Harbaugh's agent. See where the math ain't mathin' here?
Yeah.
And that's what gets to some of these other jobs, right? Hey, it might have run out of time for you there, but that's not to say that you can't have a good run with us. Hey, look at Mike Vrabel, okay? Mike Vrabel in Tennessee, that ended poorly. It was time for that to end. Now, maybe his heart was never really in it because he didn't want to be the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. And now his heart's in it with the New England Patriots. And here they are moving on, and they'll see the Houston Texans in the divisional round. So just because it didn't necessarily work out in one place, or it was time for that thing to end at one particular place, doesn't mean you can't do it somewhere else with a change of scenery.
Paul Maurice, Peter Laviolette, we see this in pro sports all the time.
I mean, hell, just sticking with the NFL, we saw this with Andy Reid in particular, where time was up in Philly.
Specifically.
And he went to Kansas City. Now, mind you, you got a generational talent in Patrick Mahomes. But hey, won multiple Super Bowls. It's not that easy.
One with Alex Smith too.
Yeah, it's not that easy. Just because you got a generational talent doesn't necessarily mean you win all the time. Looking at you, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Looking at you, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Only one team can win every year.
Exactly. So all of this stuff is going to be interesting from the perspective of the musical chairs that I think is about to unfold in the NFL. But as far as it relates to Tomlin and the Steelers, that's an exhausted conversation. And the fact that we're already exhausted probably gives you an indication that it's probably time for those two to part ways, consciously uncouple, if you will.
914-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
All right, let's go to a
This
919.
is Joseph from Wake Forest. And look, I understand you guys are probably tied up with every twist and turn and valley and mountain of the NC State basketball team. But you don't really know about NFL football. As far as defense, the Chargers had the number 2 defense in the NFL the last 5 weeks of the season, ahead of the Texans, ahead of the Broncos, ahead of the Eagles. You can twist it and turn it however you want. And the one way that I thought that the Patriots could really dominate them was to run the ball. And they ran it, turned out Drake Maye led the team in rushing and passed for 238 yards and a touchdown. Twisting and turning with those NC State Wolfpack basketball team, I'll tell you what, you want to be an NFL podcast, be an NFL podcast. But if you're going to make a declarative statement, know your information. Have a good day.
Joseph at Wake Forest coming in hot. I appreciate that. A couple of things about that. And it's one thing that Joseph in particular, he's not alone, but there are times where I will admittedly make a throwaway statement or a quick statement that people glom onto. And I was like, what the fuck did I say yesterday? And I went back real quick just to double check. And I think I said, now we'll see. I went back earlier this morning. I said, now we'll see what the Patriots will do against a real defense, meaning they're going to see Houston, the number 1 defense in the NFL. So, Joseph, a couple of things. The twisting and the turning of stuff. Well, I mean, you're twisting in how you want it over the last 5 games. I mean, you're just selectively choosing stats over the last 5 games. Let's look at the totality of the season. Houston's been the best defense in the NFL. Denver, statistically better than the Chargers in the NFL. You could say that the Chargers defense overachieved this year. That's certainly something you could say. But let's look over the course of the end of the year and who they played and why those stats might look a little bit better over the course of the last 5 games than the entirety of the season. Let's go after the Chargers gave up 35 to the Jaguars on November 16th. Here's who they played. The Raiders, they have the number 1 pick in the draft. I think you can understand what I'm saying there. The Eagles, do we really want to talk about the Eagles offense again? Talk about exhausting conversations. How we've discussed Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and their offensive coordinator and what they're not doing. I mean, we could spend all day on that. Kansas City, that was the game where Patrick Mahomes suffered a season-ending injury, and we'll see how he recovers from that. Dallas, not a playoff team, 7-9-1, and then you have losses to Houston and Denver, the 2 teams that you're defensively in the last 5 games are better than. They lost those games, and then to me, the thing about the Chargers, if we want to be specific about the Chargers. The Patriots seeing the Chargers just coincides with the kind of year that the Patriots have had. And we have not spent a lot of time discussing whether or not the Patriots year is a mirage season. I know on the national level, that's been a big talking point when talking about Drake Maye. And what I should have said, rather than play a real defense, the Chargers are just waiting to implode with Justin Herbert. That was going to be the story. And Justin Herbert, once again, was a no-show in the playoffs. He's now 0-3 in the playoffs. Small sample size. Well, here's the problem. In the NFL, you don't really get much of a sample size sometimes. And you have to make these statements. You have to make these takes based on what you know. And in the case of Justin Herbert now with 3 playoff appearances, you had the 27-0 lead collapse in 22. You had the 4 interception game against Houston in 2024. Again, great defense. And then he was sacked 6 times, no touchdowns in this game against a Patriots defense. That's okay. But that to me was Justin Herbert also coming up short in situations that they probably could have flipped that game early if they took advantage of it. Now, as it relates to the defense specifically, I'll go back to my original statement. Houston is the best defense. DVOA, EPA, OPP. How can I explain it? Let me frame by frame it. Okay. Like whatever acronym you want to use, Houston's at the top.
Yeah.
All right. So that's number 1. Number 2, I would appreciate it. And this goes beyond the call specifically, but I've noticed a trend specifically with Tar Heel fans.
I was going to say, I got this one for you if you want it.
Specifically with Tar Heel fans, that when you resort to you're just state guys, ... that means you don't really have much of an argument. You are resorting to things that are immaterial to the conversation. But if you want to talk about Drake Maye, Joe, I'm at a loss here because I would argue that this podcast has done more to promote Drake Maye than UNC's own football accounts. But that's just me.
I would encourage you, Joseph, because you are a loyal listener to our program. I would encourage you to reach out to 99.9 The Fan and ask for Rusty Helser. And I would ask Rusty for some clips.
Don't give Rusty more work.
No. I would ask for clips from Monday, August 29th, 2022. That was the first day we were on radio after Drake Maye's first college start, when I said, not only is he going to be very good, he is going to be a first-round pick, and he is going to be in the NFL for 20 years. Said it after his very first start against a 1AA team.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't want to reach out to 99.9 The Fan and Rusty Helser. That's fine. Let's go through the 23 season. I had a Heisman vote on my ballot, Drake Maye. During that 23 season on this program, I said Drake Maye will be UNC's Phillip Rivers. He will be in the league for a very long time. He will be celebrated for a very long time. He will be their favorite son. Let's go back before the draft, when Drake Maye and Caleb Williams were in the same draft, and every single person said, Caleb Williams, number one. Caleb Williams, number one. We had Jonathan Jones, who follows the NFL as much as anybody else from CBS on our program. Jonathan Jones, Tar Heel grad. I said, when do you think people will realize that Drake Maye is actually the best quarterback in this draft? Jonathan's answer, never. About that, this year, I think never's finally here. And that's not to pick on Jonathan. That's just to point out the way we were following Drake Maye, the way that he was making plays. Remember, in that first 22 season, he had a lot of help around him.
Yes.
Running backs, he had a lot of good things around him. In 23, it was really all Drake Maye. Okay. So we all understood that as those who followed him. So I would just say to you, Joseph, between his first start, between the Heisman ballot, between the pre-draft analysis, between everything else, I would just tell you, as Joe said, no one has done more for Drake Maye, short of whatever is going on at Boston radio now, than what we've done for Drake Maye. And that has nothing to do with, again, where you went to school. You can always understand. All you got to do is watch. I invite you to watch the games. I invite you to follow the takes. I invite you to understand what we've said all along.
Oh, no, Joseph does, though. And a lot of Tar Heel fans that listen to the podcast do, too. But they get selective when they want to poke holes in some of the things we say. If you got a problem with some of the takes that we have, stand on the takes. Disagree with the takes. But the minute you start going, well, NC State, you've kind of lost the argument with me. Housekeeping is brought to you by Enovana. Check them out online at enovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
We have all sorts of merch. We've mentioned the secret stash. We got Mikey P, who, I love Mikey P, but it's like we can't speak things into existence because he just gets distracted and it's like, squirrel. So, like, I got a message last night. Real quick, the secret stash is theog.shop. Theog.shop. And I guess the whole Marlboro Red discussion has sent him on a rabbit hole. I'm like, well, if you want to make a trucker hat of that and just says OG Media, there is a triangle in there with the Marlboro. I mean, why put it on a trucker hat? See what happens, right? Yeah. But then he started talking about T-shirts with fish bowls on it. I'm like, whoa. Oh. Let's not do that. Let's just one thing at a time. Let's work on a drunk belligerent pig.
Yeah, we need a drunk pig.
We need a drunk pig to drop at the right time.
Correct.
Or maybe not.
Gonna use one today.
Maybe, right?
I mean, after the ghost spare.
I mean, look, as I've joked, I'm very much on the extremely online Canes fan, and extremely online Canes fans absolutely had their phone in hand arguing with people over last night. So that's one way to do it.
Yeah. We need a bootleg ghost shirt too, I feel like. I feel like Jarvis would be okay with us making a bootleg.
With a
Jarvis
bootleg?
shirt.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. So anyway,
We also challenged Rand to the Puka Nakua.
Which we'll get in 2027.
What a wonderful phrase.
Yeah, we'll get that in March, maybe.
It means no worries.
I know. But real quick, the OG.shop, that's where the secret stash is. We also have our friends at Breaking Tea. Speaking of the Canes, they do have actual Canes
real
gear
that the Canes
there,
actually benefit and the players benefit from.
and we benefit from.
Oh, okay, nice.
And the way we benefit from that is if you click on the link in our YouTube and podcast descriptions, you will see Breaking Tea and OG. It'll take you to our landing page, but there's that link is a referral link. So anything you purchase after you click that referral link, Canes gear, all that stuff, we get a little something.
Nice.
We get a little something. So check them out, breakingtea.com/OG. Big thanks to Chris Brassfield Accounting. I feel like we're in the Brassfield era right now.
We are.
We
kidding?
Started the show talking about taxes. Taxes are on the brain. Brassfield can help you with that. Brassfieldaccounting.com. Check them out online. Brassfieldaccounting.com. We've spent a lot of time talking about how Brassfield Accounting, based in Homer, Alaska, but they have an office in the RTP, can help you with government grants. As a small LLC, small business, you don't have the expertise, you don't have the payroll to do these types of things, so you can have a fractional CFO. But now Chris is doing taxes as well. So head him up, brassfieldaccounting.com. Again, that's brassfieldaccounting.com. You can take all the paperwork and say, hey, Chris, how can you turn all of these rollback purchases into tax write-offs? How are these deductible?
It's going to be my most interesting part of our financial recall of 2025.
I feel like that's a marketing expense, right? Right? I'm sure Chris can figure that out.
Break even.
In the meantime, couple things with Roback right now. They're in their last call for their clearance. Now we have our 20% off, OG20. Use that promo code OG20. No code needed on the final call.
Okay.
For a variety of items, shorts, pants, hoodies, polos. This is the last call. 30% off. If they got your size, I would snatch it up quickly. In fact, I was online last night looking at the last call, and I was mad that some of the color block Hesse hoodies were not in my size. Like bummed out by that.
They go quick.
They go quick, and they got some great color blocking. If they have your size, take advantage of it. So go to roback.com, take advantage of the final call, the last call, or use our promo code OG20. Big thanks to Whitaker and Hamer. We would have had to reach out to them if the LLC dissolved over a beer.
Yep.
And a Rams ticket. Thankfully, we did not.
No, it didn't come to that.
Did not come to that. Maybe you want to put stuff in your employment agreements or your partnership agreements that handle these types of things. Whitaker Namer can do that for you. So check them out online at wh.lawyer. Again, that's wh.lawyer. And of course, our friends at NC Grill Rescue. Check them out online at ncgrillrescue.com. You have used your grill all tailgating season. It's getting a break now. Give it some love. Give it some TLC. Maybe you were entertaining throughout Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. Hey, give that outdoor kitchen a break. Give it some TLC. Go to ncgrillrescue.com.
Maybe you have a big Super Bowl party. You need to get that grill ready for the Super Bowl. Reach out now.
No need to bury your barbecue. Call NC Grill Rescue. And now it's time for your NC Grill Rescue of the Week.
What you got, Joe?
I know mine was I would have benched CJ Stroud after the third fumble and brought in Davis Mills. Remember, they went 3-0 this year when Davis Mills started. That defense really is kind of sort of up there with the greats of all time. Speed just all over the place on that side of the ball. So interesting team to watch, but obviously CJ Stroud's got to get it in gear for the Texans to fulfill the prophecy there.
It's interesting as everything comes back to Bryce Young, and we're about to talk to Julian Council from Locked On Panthers. Now, we had this conversation before Dan Morgan's media availability at 11 o'clock today. During that media availability, Morgan said they have every intention to do the 5th-year option for Bryce Young. The reason why I'm bringing this up, and you bring up CJ Stroud, think of the conversations about Bryce Young and CJ Stroud rookie season.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with CJ Stroud last night, to be clear.
Well,
but you would obviously take the 3 years that CJ Stroud's had over the 3 years that Bryce Young's had.
I mean,
anyone would.
CJ's had some struggles, and the defense has been the thing that has carried
this season.
Yeah,
I mean, he missed 3 games with a concussion.
Yes,
this season, and last night he was awful. Like he looked like he was throwing the game last night. But on the whole, you would take what CJ's done over what Bryce Young has done in these 3 years.
So hit him up, ncgrillrescue.com. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline is a man who demands to be on this podcast and will let me know if it's been too long. He is Julian Council, Locked On Panthers podcast. What's up, man?
Not much, man. Just coming off the high of finally seeing this city back alive, even if it was a heartbreaking Saturday in the end. I think a lot of people should be encouraged by what they saw over the last month and really the whole season.
Yeah, we talked about this with Jake Failing yesterday. He is the Panthers hype man in the building. And I've known Jake for a very, very long time, back when he used to work at USA Baseball. But the dude has a particular personality about him that's perfect for that role as the hype man there at Bank of America Stadium. Plus, I think the more successful the Panthers are, the taller his hair gets. I think that's the correlation there. Regardless, the reason why I wanted to talk to him yesterday rather than getting too football-y was because I think, and you were there, Saturday went beyond the result of the game. It was just a reminder of what this area can be. And I say the entire state, because I remember 10 years ago when they were on the way to the Super Bowl, everybody was doing the dab stuff. Cam was the topic of conversation all the time. Yeah. So it was good to see the Panthers once again be a topic rather than, can you believe this organization? We actually talked about them from the perspective of, hey, they might pull this thing off.
Yeah, and I think often about how many people have moved here over the last 8 years that have never seen this team at what it even was on Saturday, and that still was an 8-9 football team that backed their way into the playoffs. I don't know if there's a ton of belief that, all right, hey, this is our chance to go on a run. I don't think anybody was really thinking that. Now, there's going to be the select few that obviously are going to tell themselves that anything's possible once the playoffs began, but we all knew that likely Saturday night was going to be the lone game. It was always a possibility. And certainly you look at that game, they could have won that one and still been playing, but it was just cool for people who have not been around to see what it looks like. And there's plenty of people in the Panthers media corps who have not covered a home playoff game, and they finally get to see it. It's not like the Hornets are out there in the playoffs either. So there's a lot of people who have been in this city who have not seen this city look the way it did on Saturday when a team is having success in the postseason, and you can finally have that belief and really just have an all-around party. There's not been a lot to party about in Charlotte in a long time. So I'm glad just that for a night, for a weekend, folks got to party again.
All right. Now it's over. Now there's no time. There's really no time to marinate on any of those things. Now it's all right, we got here. How do we keep this thing going forward? How do we make it so that we're not sweating on the last day of the regular season to get into the playoffs, to win the NFC South? How do things look going forward? What do they need to do this offseason? But before we even get into any of that stuff, the Panthers, I guess Dave Canales kind of dropped this news without anybody really knowing it, and it's already kind of soured some of the vibes already. And I'm talking about the defensive coordinator, Evero, signing a contract extension that nobody ever knew about. Like, I don't know about you, Julian, but if you re-upped with Locked On, you'd be like, hell yeah, hey guys, I'm back. I got this deal with Locked On. Heister Automotive Group, right? They bring you the hotline every time we bring on a guest. They re-up for 2026. We're like, hell yeah, OG corporate champions. Big shout to Heister Automotive Group. Let's go. Instead, we get Dave Canales kind of drop it in there. Hey, yeah, no, you see, he'll be back next year because he signed a contract extension through 2027. We just didn't announce it in 2024.
Yeah, that was interesting. Mike K, the way he worded that question, I found to be interesting because Mike was like, I know that Ajero still has some time left on his contract. And I'm sitting there like, time? Like 2 hours, 2 days? What you mean? Because it's supposed to be done at the end of the 2025 season, which just concluded 12 hours ago last night. So I'm trying to understand, what do you mean by time? And then Dave talks about how he has complete confidence and trust in Ajero, and Joe Person's like, hey, hold on. The last public announcement was that the deal was up after this season. What happened? And then Dave's let us know, like, we took care of that before the season. It's like, you did.
Oh,
when was before the season? Was that back in July? Was that back in August? Was it way back in May? I understand from like a PR perspective that extending the defensive coordinator who oversaw the worst defense in franchise history, the worst scoring defense in history of the National Football League, probably is not going to go over well. But neither does this when you hide it. And a night or the morning after everyone finds out that he's coming back after they play prevent defense on the final drive of that game. Now, guys like Mike Jackson, Nick Scott defend him. Other people like Prince Uman a little cringy, the way he was trying to dance around, very clearly not loving the scheme and loving kind of the calls that have been made this past season, including on Saturday night. Look, Dave Canales, if you listen to him, he tells you constantly that he loves the scheme that Adjero runs.
Yeah.
Been standing by his man for the last 2 years. Every time there's been any sort of questions about how the Panthers play too much zone, they back off, can't get a pass rush. He continuously says that he appreciates and loves the scheme. So if it's not the scheme, it's got to be the personnel, which they improved upon. And then if it's not the personnel, it's got to be the execution, which of course it's not always there. But man, that was interesting that came out on Sunday. And it's not just this upcoming season, it's the next season after that he's still under contract.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the Panthers have given permission for Evero to talk to other teams. I know the Falcons came up in terms of head coaching jobs.
And Raiders.
And the Raiders, too, which, again, that's a good experience for him. Go out there and do it. But I fully expect Evero to be the defensive coordinator next year. But let's drill in on that, actually, because we can get caught up in the messaging. The messaging isn't great. We can all agree the messaging isn't great. But we can be realistic about what the defense was last year with the personnel that was missing, and we can see the improvements this year when you have Derek Brown on the field. That's kind of a big deal. And then after, we talk about coverage and execution. Well, you saw what Matthew Stafford attacked on that final drive. It was between the hashes, something that they hadn't done, or he hadn't really been successful earlier in the game. They drilled it on that. That's where they had their success, and that's something that the Panthers have been dealing with all year, regardless of J.C. Horn being on the sideline with a concussion. So if it's not the scheme, it's the personnel and the execution, well, then I guess we kind of know what the offseason plan is going to be. They got to get better on that side of the ball, but we've all known that. They got to get better on that side of the ball.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like you look at the numbers and like they lack the context of they trade away Brian Burns. Frankie Louvu decided not to re-sign. Now, in large part because he did not want to play in this defense, which is something that people bring up often, but also you have to remember that Derek Brown, as you mentioned, missed basically entirely the 2024 season. J.C. Horn was banged up all throughout 2023. So you can point out, they were last in this, last in that, and all that. But okay, who was on the field, who wasn't on the field? That's always important. And I do think that they went a long way to getting back to what people want that defense to be, and obviously what they want it to be when they added Bobby Brown III and Turk Wharton. Now, Turk missed a number of games this past season, but at least they had 4 guys that could rotate in the middle there on the interior defensive line, with Derek Brown coming back, adding those 2 guys, and then A'Shawn Robinson, which was not the case in 2024 once Derek went down. It was just A'Shawn, and basically that was it. Off the edge, like you had 2 rookies, in particular, Nick Scorton, who played a ton of snaps this year. And we have seen that guys do not just come from college, whether it's the SEC or the Mountain West, and just dominate from day one at that edge rusher spot. And the vets they had wasn't like they were ever going to be high leverage kind of guys anyway. And Pat Jones II, and then DJ Wanham, who I'm guessing probably played his last game on Saturday night as a Panther. So I don't really know what they're going to do there. Now, kind of the way that Princey was talking made it seem like this is not necessarily a scheme that's asking its edge rushers to get after the passer that much. You think primarily what Adjero Vera wants them to do is set the edge as far as keeping things inside in the run, and even in the pass, keeping guys in contain. I don't know, like linebacker, that's got to be addressed, obviously. Corner, they're good there. I think, if anything, Mike Jackson needs to talk to his agent and say, hey, buddy, I've played damn near every snap the last 2 years, and I'm probably more consistent than J.C. Horn. So get me more money here in Carolina. And in safety, it's kind of like, all right, are they going to roll with Nick Scott again? And now is kind of one of my thoughts. If Adjero's back for another season, that might mean that Nick Scott would also be back another season after starting every game of this season. And that's probably an area a lot of fans would like to be seen addressed as well. But they did draft Lathan Ransom. So there's a few things they can do, but it doesn't seem like there's going to be any sort of like personnel overhaul on defense. Maybe it's just a continuity play in another year in this game, especially for some of the new guys, will only help them moving forward into, I guess, later on this fall.
Moving over to the offense, one when the Panthers moved on from Adam Thielen earlier in the year, they were betting on the youth movement. They were betting on Tedero McMillan being that guy. I think we can all agree that he was that guy. When Jalen Coker's on the field, they truly believed in him that he could be that guy. And he absolutely made a name for himself in the loss on Saturday against the Rams. He came up big. And then there was the Xavier Legette factor as well. Like, he needs to step up. Like, here's your opportunity to be the guy that Dan Morgan drafted. I think that was his first pick, right? Was Xavier Legette. So, all right, you're my guy. Let's prove it, right? Turns out Xavier Legette did not prove it this year. So clearly, in some ways, the bet on the youth worked, but they could get better at that position. They can get better at the skill position, but something's got to give, and that's got to be Xavier Legette, right?
Yeah, I think so. And honestly, they got lucky. Had they not taken McMillan 8th overall, they would have been screwed. Because no one could predict that Coker was going to injure his quad the day after they trade away Adam Thielen. And Jalen did talk about on Sunday during locker room cleanout that that's the one thing he wants to be able to do next season is play a full year, because he did miss time as a rookie because of quad injury. Of course, missed time, I think, the first 6 games of the season with the quad. So, like, when he's on the field, like, he's clearly shown that it's him, it's T-Mac. Dave said as much on Sunday as well. And I asked Dave about Xavier, and he said Xavier's got to keep grinding. And basically talk about, like, when you get those opportunities, you can't be lined up offside. You can't be lined up improperly and get an illegal formation. You have to know where you're at on the sideline and get both feet down. You can't drop the ball. Just fundamental things to where I didn't understand how they continue to play him. Other than, I guess they didn't have options.
They didn't have
Hunter
options.
Renfrow, they weren't going to play him. I mean,
they had no other option. They had no other option. You had to be Legette, and again, you get opportunities. Well, we kind of know what you are right now.
But I think that, yes, it has to, like, having conversations with some people, it's about, like, what's real, what's fake this offseason. That's what they need to find out. And very clearly, they have something real in McMillan and in Coker. And very clearly, they have something fake in Legette. And one of the things I told people, because I was not a fan of this pick, one of the things I told people was he's not going to have 5 years like he did in college to figure out in the NFL. He has 3 years, and this third year is coming up to where, do they want to exercise 5th-year option? Probably not, because he's not going to be their top 2 receiver next year unless injury happens or he has just some explosion. So why would you then invest anyways in a 5th year for your number 3 receiver? So at this point in time, it seems very clear to me, find another team to take him on and go get a veteran receiver to pair with Coker and to pair with McMillan, especially a veteran receiver who can play on the outside, which is actually something they wanted to do last offseason. Darius Slayton up in New York was a guy they were looking at. That did not work out as you re-signed with the Giants. I think if you have T-Mac on the outside at X, you got another guy playing Z, and you got Jalen Coker right there in the middle in the slot, or because playing Z, and you got another guy playing Y. Like, that's what they need to do. They got to find a veteran receiver to pair with McMillan and to pair with Coker, and then move on from Legette. Jimmy Horn Jr., we'll see what they have in him. Bryson Tremaine, more of a special teams guy.
Yeah.
I think that's the path moving forward. And you got to figure out what you have at tight end. Like, I assume all 3 of those guys are coming back, but they did not necessarily provide that much in the pass game, especially what you thought you might get out of JT Sanders this past year. They're
also going to have to do something about who are they going to put next to Chuba Hubbard in the backfield, because it doesn't really sound like Rico Dowdle will be coming back next season. I know that he was pretty vocal about it after the game in the locker room. I know that those who monitor social media noticed that his Instagram account has been scrubbed of anything Panthers related. So clearly he wants to go get his money. He wasn't happy with his touches. I get all those kind of things, but I don't know. It kind of followed the pattern of Rico Dowdle. We tried to tell people earlier this year, there's nothing wrong with riding the hot hand. If Rico's the guy that's giving you the numbers, go to him until Chuba's completely healthy and Rico's not doing it anymore. Turns out it played out that way. So they got the contract with Chuba. You're not going to overpay Rico. Now it's time to do something else. The question is, what is that something else?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. Jonathan Brooks, who was the second.
Is it though?
Look, we talked to him on Sunday as well. He sounds like he didn't want to give a timeline. He's hopeful he'll be ready for the offseason program, whether that be in March or in April or in May, or, I mean, even in June when they have mandatory minicamp. He's hoping he'll be back by then. It's about 14 months since he retore that same ACL in his knee. And we're looking at, it'll be like 17, 18, 19 months by the time we get around to the offseason program later on this spring. So I mean, I would imagine like that's a guy they still believe in. Trevor Etienne, I think, has something there to him that they can utilize. It makes way more sense, I think. I don't know. I mean, to me, it makes more sense to bet on that than to what I believe waste money on another running back. Because like Rico hit on all of his incentives. Whatever he's going to want, Carolina should not, and I don't think cannot. I mean, they could, but they really should not pay. You paid Chuba. And I was trying to tell people, was like, guys, it was less than a year ago that they had extended Chuba Hubbard, signed him to a 4-year deal, which is truly more of a 2-year deal, but understood they already had invested in him. They had invested in Jonathan Brooks. They just drafted a running back in Trevor Etienne. Why would it make any sense based off of 2 games in a 17-game season to extend a player who clearly is not a number 1 running back? When they needed him down the stretch, Rico Dowdle failed to rush for over 60 yards in the final 9 games of the year, y'all. Like, guys, I don't really know what else is there to say other than like they went from the top 3 rushing attack in the NFL by yardage to the 3rd worst in the second half of the season. Maybe it's the offensive line, or maybe it's just like the guy was your workhorse kind of slow down. And you're using Chuba primarily on 3rd downs until the very end. Yeah, he's definitely going to move on, and I think the Panthers are going to just roll with the 3 guys they have. Maybe you bring in another back. I mean, they're going to just for training camp purposes, but maybe there's another back you want to bring in to be a part of that. But yeah, I think Rico's days are done.
You mentioned the offensive line. I guess that's the other thing that now comes into focus with Aquanu's injury. Now what do you do? You know, it's like we talked to Mike Kay, what was it, last week, and all the money that's been invested in the line, on the line, right? And Aquanu's time at Carolina has been an up and down affair, and people have had their takes about it. If Chilio were sitting down right now, he'd be like, I mean, trying to tell you, saw plenty of them at NC State. Same with Chandler Zavala. Like, we could tell you these things, right? So now the question is, I mean, you hate it for him, obviously. You don't want to see a guy get hurt, but now it puts into even more focus what that offensive line needs to be this offseason.
Yeah, and also what are they going to do with that deal? Because the way Carolina's operated the last couple seasons is they exercise 5th-year option. Next offseason, they extend you. Did that with Derek Brown. Did that with J.C. Horn last year. And I'm guessing the expectation was they're going to do that with Vicky Aquanu. They may still very well do that. But now, they're going to have to go out and get a rent-a-tackle for the season. And those guys obviously are not cheap. And also, like, is there anyone that you really like? I haven't looked at the tackle market just yet. Not that far into the offseason as far as those discussions, but I think that's what they're going to have to do. I was talking to some other guys like Brady Christensen, who tore his Achilles. Like, he said that it sounds like they want to have him back, but like, that's not going to be really an option, I would think, to start the season. And then, I mean, Corbett, like, you got to figure out what you want to do with him. Cade Mays is a free agent as well. The good thing is they have Moten. They already got that figured out, because that would be terrible if they're in a situation where Aquanu was likely, of course, done for at least first quarter of the season, and then they hadn't extended Taylor Moten. That would make things real concerning for them at tackle, but they have Moten locked up. They have Damian Lewis locked up. Same thing with Robert Hunt. But yeah, it's going to have to be getting a veteran tackle just to stand in there until like you can. And the thing is, they already needed to do that because Josh Nyman, their swing tackle the last 2 years, he's out of a contract. He was out there on Sunday having everybody sign his jersey. So that felt like, to me, it's not just a memento, but bye, guys, I'm probably not going to be back here next season. So that was already going to be a priority, but now it's like you need to have even a better player than what you are likely going to have behind Aquanu at left tackle.
We've gone all this time. We haven't even talked about Bryce Young. Kind of shows you where we're at. That's progress, Julian. It's progress from the beginning of the season, where it's nothing but Bryce Young conversation to, you know what? We can win with that dude. He's a starter in this league. We can win with this guy. Now it's just a matter of getting some pieces around him, getting better at offensive line play, adding, making sure the running backs and the wide receivers are consistent, and we'll go from there. I think Bryce won over a lot of people there at the end. A lot of people from where we were at the beginning of the season to where we are now, won over a lot of people.
I think so. But I still feel like there's a lot of people who are just not believing in that just yet. And I think that's fair.
That's true of like every quarterback outside of, people who like outside of Josh Allen, right? Like right now, outside of Josh Allen, you got a bunch of people who still have the hottest takes possible. I mean, we're still having hot takes about Drake Maye. We still have hot takes about Brock Purdy. Like all these things still exist. I mean, we're still litigating Lamar Jackson, if you think about it.
Well, that's ridiculous. I would just say this, like guys like Brock Purdy have done it now for consecutive years and very clearly is a good player. Obviously, Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP. Josh Allen, like Drake. Look, love Drake. He's been great. But I got to see it past this season. Even if he wins the MVP this year, okay, that's cool. But can you consistently year to year show that you are one of the upper echelon guys in this league? And so far, we had 1 year where obviously there was promise, but like, okay, this year's been great. What does next year look like? And for Bryce Young, you've had 1 year that was a spectacular failure. Another year where it was like, okay, this guy may be done. All right, there's something here to this year where it's like up, down, looks pretty good here at the closing stretch, helping get to the playoffs. There has not been nearly enough consistency to be fully bought in as him being the Panthers' long-term quarterback. But for next year and a year after that, certainly, I would like for them to see it through. That makes a ton of sense. But I agree. Like, yeah, probably he's gotten people on board that were not. But I don't think anyone's like truly fully on board of like, oh yeah, this is the guy.
Oh, sure. Look, we're still gonna look. We can't unsee the previous 2 seasons.
No,
we can't unsee Dave Canales not really sounding like a guy who believed in Bryce Young, and it took a car accident with Andy Dalton to get him back into the lineup. Okay, like let's not memory hole that. But that's a credit to Bryce Young, who easily could have had his NFL career derailed by such a terrible rookie season, derailed by a coach not actively talking about you in the most positive light, not trusting you, to what we've seen today, where he looks more like the guy that you wanted to draft than not. I think that's a lot of credit to Bryce Young. And yes, if we're looking at it strictly from an economics perspective, yeah, you absolutely pick up that 5th-year option. There's no question. You have him for the next 2 years at a bargain deal. If you want to call him a glorified bridge quarterback for the next 2 seasons, fine. If that makes you feel happy, sure. But we also know that windows in the NFL are not as big as you want them to be. And I think that's going to be the most interesting part of this offseason. You could be ahead of schedule, but you also have some economics in play that make it really, really, it incentivizes you to make some big moves now while your quarterback is cheap. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, and like it's $32 million across 2 seasons if they exercise that 5th-year option. Like that's a pretty good deal for a quarterback.
Deal, man. Like you do that every single time.
And like I don't want them, and that's the thing. Like I think when Sam Darnold was here, I think they made a mistake by not exercising their option. Like obviously, when you give up a 2nd, 4th, and the 6th round pick, you're gonna exercise the deal. And back then, it was $22 million across 2 seasons, which again is very cheap for quarterbacks back then and today. But the problem I think they had was that they didn't fully invest in those 2 years. If Carolina is going to exercise that 5th-year option on Bryce Young, they have to fully invest in 2026 and 2027 with Bryce Young being their quarterback. I don't care how low the lows are. You have to invest in that guy being him, and you have to trust in him. They didn't trust in Sam, and maybe things would have worked out that 2nd year had they really given him the opportunity and not brought in Baker and done all of that. And then Sam, we saw of all the quarterbacks that season when he came back after the ankle injury, ended up being the best one. And he's had success after that. So maybe there's an alternate universe where Carolina has Sam Darnold, things actually work out in the end. But they got to truly be fully all in on Bryce the next 2 seasons to know whether he really is going to be their guy.
Julian Council locked on. Hey, man, you actually have positive, fun things to talk about this offseason.
Yes, no coaching changes, which I guess is fine. Like, I mean, whatever. If they want to keep DC, that's more things to talk about because people will be like, hey, why is this happening? So I got that one to answer all next season too about the DC. It's like, why is Ajero still here? It's like, guys, I don't know. Ask Dave.
Hey, look, we thank them for a content hook. That's all we can really thank them for. Julian, we appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you later.
Yep, no problem.
Always enjoy catching up with Julian. Always enjoy our partnership with Hometown Realty. Check them out online at myhtr.com. Again, that's myhtr.com. You can buy and sell with confidence. You might have some questions about how the market's working right now. You see a lot of houses just kind of sitting there. Is it time to sell? You've been holding off on that, or maybe you've been wanting to buy. You want to take advantage of the fact that these houses have been sitting there for a while. Again, these are all things that Hometown Realty can handle, but they've been in the community now for 25 years, Joe. 25 years. So they got a new program, which is kind of neat.
Yep. They're doing a hometown hero each month. They're picking a hometown hero at each of their stores, by the way. So this is gift cards. They're going to have monthly winners. And then they will have a grand prize winner at the end of the year. This is real simple. You're going to nominate an individual. So that's not a company. It's not a business. It's not a school. It's an individual. And the best way to do that in your hometown, could be Garner, could be Clayton, could be Raleigh, could be Holly Springs, you name it. Go to hometownhero.com. That's hometown like Hometown Realty with an E. Hometownhero.com for your nominations and to celebrate the 25 years of Hometown Realty.
Now, speaking of homes, let's say you buy a house, there's some upgrades, or you're looking to sell the house and you're trying to add some things to that house to make it more appetizing for the market. Blinds. That's a real easy, simple thing to make a house look a hell of a lot better on the interior. Also save you some energy as well. So check out our friends at Bloomin' Blinds. Check them out online at bloominblinds.com. That's I-N, bloominblinds.com, or call them directly at 919-980-9815. It goes beyond your house too. Let's say you've got an office complex. Maybe you are the one who makes decisions at your school. If it's time to upgrade all those blinds, well, Bloomin' Blinds can do it for you. So again, check them out online at bloominblinds.com or call them directly at 919-980-9815. Big thanks to our friends at the Butcher's Market. You can check them out online at thebutchersmarkets.com. Look, you're going to get access to fine quality meats. They even got exotic meats too in the frozen section. But let's talk about practicality. What makes it easier for you? Prepared meals. They got prepared individual meals. They got prepared family meals. They got everything you need there to make your day a hell of a lot easier. And it's a hell of a lot better than going to a supermarket and whatever they got in a bag. So head on over to the Butcher's Market and get yourself some prepared meals. And to top it off, drop by Two Roosters. Treat yourself with a pint of ice cream with our friends at Two Roosters.
Very smart.
And get the Slave and Sunday while you're at it. So again, check them out online at tworoosters.com. Joining us in studio on the Heister Automotive Group microphone is my dad, Ernie, OG Media's number1 investor.
Well, my name is Hernando.
Yes,
Ernie's my IBM name, but
Yes.
that's okay. They pay
Yes.
me well. That's why I'm retired.
I know you're used to fancier studios when you make appearances.
This is fine.
I mean,
That's okay. I mean, I know it's not Adam Gold. I know that was the last time. You know, I mean, but we're making do what we got here in the studio. Yeah, it's just two people along with some of your money. You bought some of this stuff, so
Fighting words.
Okay.
I know what I'm doing. I've been on with Adam Gold.
I've been on with Adam. Oh, I forgot. Well, you know what? Adam's won an NSMA Broadcaster of the Year. I haven't yet.
Has, yes.
Yeah,
But he's a Mets fan
that's
and
true.
a Jets fan.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He's a fake Jets fan.
Yeah. He's given up on the Jets.
He's given up on the Jets.
Don't
He's
believe
a fake,
him. Don't believe him. Jets. Once a Jets fan, always a
Nah,
Jets
he's a fake Jets fan. He tries to fight it all the time. You, sir, are a real Miami fan, though.
Miami. Which Miami?
Well, all the Miamis,
All the Miamis. Yes.
but mostly the Hurricanes.
Of course.
That's why
I
you're
went to
swagged out.
school.
If you're listening on podcast only today, I highly recommend you go over to YouTube so
Oh.
you can see my dad's outfit.
Did we buy them that jacket?
Yes,
That's right.
Look at you.
he's wearing the jacket.
But this
And
is-
you said
but
we
this-
couldn't get him a gift that he would
but-
like.
I
but
mean,
this
it's
is-
hard.
but
If
this
you
is-
think I'm a pain in the ass with gifts, this man's even worse.
This is a politically correct
I
ibis because it's
know.
not smoking a pipe. On my hat
Yeah.
is a politically incorrect ibis because it's smoking a pipe. This hat I got in 1983 to go to the 50th Orange Bowl when Miami was a real underdog like they are now.
Yeah.
Okay. To play Nebraska.
Mhm.
All right. Back in, I was 30 years old.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I was a young man. You were 4 going on to 5.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't take you. Anyway, so, and look what happened. And that was doing without these college committees or whatever. Miami just stopped the 2-point play, no flags like in the Ohio State game in 2002 season. And, the rest is history because they had 4 teams ahead of them that they had to lose, and they did.
So for those who are unaware, my dad is very superstitious.
Superstitious.
Yes. I've explained this family trauma before that I was to blame for the fact that there hadn't been no Triple Crown winner in horse racing.
Since you were born in 79.
I was born
The last
in-
one was 78. Last one was 78.
So it was my fault. So when we finally had a Triple Crown winner, I remember calling my dad and being like, am I still alive?
It was,
Am I here? Am I a
well,
ghost?
it turned,
Because it happened.
it required a new millennium.
That's what it was. That's what it was. See, my dad always has. Oh, you see, but what had happened was.
Hey, look, I worked for 48 years in corporate America, so you always have to have a comeback.
I get it. I get it. And I want you, speaking of corporate America, I want you to double confirm that you were convinced they weren't getting out of the Fiesta Bowl.
Well, because of history. Because they never won a Fiesta Bowl. They lost 2 championships, one to Penn State and one to Ohio State, in 86 and in 2002. It was an even year. That's why they didn't win. But this is an odd year. 2025 is an odd year last time I looked.
Yeah.
So they have a chance. The only thing I'm concerned about is that Mario Cristobal actually stumbled into winning the Fiesta Bowl, which is great. I mean,
you could have stopped at the only thing I'm concerned about is Mario Cristobal.
And that's the end of it.
No, I'm more, what I'm more concerned about, because I'm superstitious.
Yeah, superstitious.
Is that I can't use my Malahua Santeria jinx on Mendoza.
It's too many Cubans.
Yeah, too many. So Cubans are immune to my jinx, whereas Bobby Bowden and Florida State, white right, white left. What do you think caused those misses? My Malahua.
You were the one.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Just like the Cardinals don't win because mom was watching on television at the same time.
Yeah, and I threw a shoe at the TV.
Yeah, my dad threw the shoe at the TV one time. Yeah. So if you want to know why the way I am.
Oh, Cardinals, that 85 loss to the Royals. That was one of the worst calls ever.
Well, but I was there.
No, you weren't.
You
were at the game?
No, I went to the 3 games in St. Louis.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why they lost. Every time I go see my team away from Miami or,
So you want to know why I am the way that I am? Cats in the cradle. Yeah. Why I drink old sodas, old beers, those types of things.
Almost got
because you think about these other things in the universe.
The forces
of the universe coming together, because I was raised in a household where I was the reason why there was no Triple Crown winner. David, my brother, is the reason why the Canes won the Stanley Cup in 2006, because had they gone to Game 7 here instead of going, because I think you ended up
5 of the Miami Heat.
Yes. It was the Mavericks, right?
The Mavericks.
The Heatles.
Yes.
Oh, no, before the Heatles.
But
no. The first championship, I took David to
go see
Miami
Shaq and them, right?
To see Game 5.
So David's still upset about the fact that he went to go see Miami win a championship instead of the Hurricanes winning a championship. But my dad will tell you they never would have won if we win.
If I would have gone to Game 7.
See, this is how all things work.
Kelly went. That's why they won. That's why they won.
See, there you go. Kelly went. That's why they won.
Yeah.
So
he's a true fan.
So are you going one day?
No.
Why not?
Because I have to pick up your mom at midnight Sunday.
I can pick up mom.
No.
I thought you got access.
There are other things.
You got
other things here involved.
Oh, I see.
All right,
I see.
Let's not go there.
Okay, fair enough. That makes
Have you
sense.
seen the prices?
Yeah, but you have access to.
At noon, I get access to the website. It's in my phone. But I mean, I just was curious about
$5,000
because of the Miami Club or the Ibis Club or something.
I belong to the Hurricane Club.
Yeah,
and I had to renew for 2026 in order to get this email where at noon, which is half an hour from now, I can go find out what the price.
The actual price. What the actual price is.
This is not secondary market.
I got you.
Yeah, because the secondary market's going for like $5,000-6,000. I mean, because Indiana fans. And of course, it being in Miami, you got the long, the people who've been waiting 20 years for this. 25 years for this. So that's the thing. That's why I'm surprised you're not going.
Well, but let's put it this way: if I wouldn't have done,
has David texted you to see if he can get your ticket to go?
Let's not go there. Let's not go there. So
that's something my brother
would he be allowed to go
if I get a ticket?
Yeah,
I would have to transfer it to him.
But here's the thing: if my brother goes and they lose,
then he's. But no, you went to the one in Miami.
But he'll never hear the end of it.
Hey,
it was him.
It was me.
If my brother goes
now,
see, if my brother goes and they lose, he'll never hear the end of it.
It was me.
So you don't want to do it.
His mom, and then my good buddy Leo and his wife Lucy. Yeah. Leo didn't want to go. I said, hey, let's go. They're gonna get killed. And look what happened. He saw the beginning of a Miami dynasty for they won in 83, 87, where they went undefeated, 89, 91, where they split, I think, with Washington. They split the
but they were the best team.
Yeah, and then 2001.
You know who should be there? Manny Diaz.
He deserves a
Manny
piece of
Diaz
this.
should go
He
on
got
Monday.
us in.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Manny Diaz,
yeah.
I mean, he won the ACC and knocked Virginia.
Yeah. Virginia's in, you're out.
Yeah.
You also talk about the gemstones, the Manny Diaz, Fernando Mendoza storyline and things like that. He's got to be there.
You think?
Yeah, man.
That's really gaining some legs?
It is.
How are they supposed to have Mensa and Mendoza?
I don't know.
And how
No,
are
no,
they
no,
supposed
no,
to
no,
choose
no, no, no,
Mendoza
no.
over Mensa?
No, Mendoza at Miami when remember because Mendoza where he grew
originally.
up. These are all guys. What high school did they all go to?
Columbus.
Columbus. Yeah.
Columbus is Cardinal Gibbons.
No, he's only in his third year of college
Columbus
football.
is the
There was
Cardinal
something
Gibbons
about
of
like
Miami.
recruiting that happened back in the day. I have to go back and look it up. So hold on a second. I have to go back and I can do this in real time.
You're saying Mendoza was supposed to be at Miami with Manny Diaz?
He was not recruited by Manny Diaz when he was younger. So I have to go back and double
But
check.
he's not. He wasn't like Cam Ward that had 0 stars.
Something like that.
Incarnate word. Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. They made a program out of Cam Ward.
Are you with me?
Cam Ward that plays for the Titans.
Are you with? Yeah. Are you with me? You want to put the classical music on in Mario Cristobal's headset, and you can't trust him at all?
He's beginning to grow on me now.
He is.
Yeah. Again, he's proven he won the Fiesta Bowl. So for me, wow, because I thought this is it. And I was in Denver watching that game. Your mother closed her eyes when Beck run into the end zone.
Here it is. Coming out of high school, Mendoza was a 3-star prospect, 135th quarterback in the country, number 250 in Florida, and then Coach Manny Diaz never offered him an extension, never extended him an offer. So there you go.
That timing is off.
Yes, but anyway,
either way,
there you go.
So you're okay with Mario, the guy who literally said, "I don't believe in taking a knee."
Well, yeah, I remember that game, but hey, no, he's no Howard Schnell. Howard Schnellenberger, I've always respected because he won the first one.
Yeah,
and first game of the year, Florida was winning 28-0, and at the end he kicked the field goal just to
make sure it wasn't a shutout.
And then, got to give Florida credit for kicking Schnellenberger into reality, and then everything fell into place. 87, it was Jimmy Johnson. He went undefeated. That's one of the. There's been only 2 undefeated Miami championships: 87 and 2001.
Yeah,
Ken Dorsey. Matter of fact, your brother never saw Miami lose until they lost to Ohio State. Well, they didn't lose; they got robbed. Okay,
agree. Let's get it correct.
I was waiting at the end of that Ole Miss game for a flag, and if my kids watching the game with me, my wife, I go, hey, now you got to wait. Because that flag might come out.
I think when that happened, the referee that did that, I don't think he's in the league anymore. Where he might be too old, but
I think he's too old at this point.
But still, I think they got the message. You don't do that in a championship in overtime. It was overtime.
Yeah,
and Ohio State had a a running back that ended up not doing anything in the NFL. It wasn't meant to be. It was an odd year, so I accepted in odd years. Now, if they lose this year, it's going to be okay. It's like the Triple Crown. Is the Earth has shifted a little bit in its orbit, or I don't know.
Okay,
maybe it means that my time is not too long here. I am getting old.
You got a new hip though,
aren't we all? You got 2 of them.
I didn't know you got that.
I lost my balance now. I have no balance because the brain doesn't communicate with what's not there. So one hip, I had a little bit of balance.
Exercise. That's why.
No, that's not the exercise.
No,
not the exercise.
It's all the wine then.
And the beer.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you something about on Monday. So okay.
It's Monday night.
No. What I was gonna say was because we got into this conversation a little bit yesterday. In that Indiana, if they win, that people are going to be talking about them up there with other teams.
Yeah, I'll let your dad set you straight on this.
And the 01 Miami team is routinely viewed as one of the greatest college football teams of all time.
But they played the Nebraska team that snuck in.
They had that Nebraska team had no business being in the Rose Bowl.
Didn't go. Yeah, because
they had no business.
Well, let me. I know the Coker won in 2001.
Yes,
but the year before, it was
they got left out.
No, and they
Butch.
beat Butch beat Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
And Florida State went to the championship.
Right.
It's like this Notre Dame. That's why I was thinking, Notre Dame, is this going to happen again? But 2000, it's an even year. So even though a 0 doesn't have any meaning, but mathematically.
I do take great joy in the fact that Miami is here at the expense of Notre Dame for all of the years of the Catholics versus convicts thing and all that fun stuff. I do take great joy in that. And Notre Dame fans are out here doing hypotheticals because of I
was just about to say,
hey, we beat them. We beat them.
Yeah.
End of story. And Catholics are all the Testaverde, Kosar, Toretta, they were all Catholics too.
Yeah.
Okay, they can't be convicts. If you're Catholic, you cannot be a convict.
Well,
I'm not a convict. I'm not a convict.
Well, the church might have some other options on that. But that's neither here nor there. I was Catholic too. I went to Catholic school, and I was decked out in Miami stuff.
You were a monaguillo.
By the way, what happened to an altar boy? My dad's using Spanish slang.
Okay. I can't speak in Spanish.
No, you can't. I have to explain what that means.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's all.
All right.
Which, by the way,
Christmas cards, the grievances.
Oh no, I think
now that he's enjoyed one gift, can we give him another gift?
I think I threw out the Christmas card by accident.
The festival.
What was the third? What was the third thing?
The Festivus card. I don't remember. I'm old. I'm 72. How do you expect me to remember something I wrote last year?
It's the selective Alzheimer's. All right.
Now that he's accepted one gift, I feel like
Festivus card.
I think I put it. I recycled it. So this. I know what happened here. This was an auction item that one of our listeners.
He doesn't need to know that.
We're
getting a Don Strock nameplate for it.
I'm explaining here. So there was an auction that was taking place. I forgot where, but one of the listeners had reached out and said, "Hey, this is on your big Tyreek Hill kick. If only." So they had a Dolphins Tyreek Hill signed jersey.
It might have been from Woody's Tavern, where the Dolphin Club.
Maybe.
Yeah, because
this is a collector's item. Now,
wow.
A Tyreek Hill signed Dolphins jersey. Although, like Joe said, if you want to put a Strock nameplate on that thing, I'm sure we could.
No one would know.
We could probably talk to somebody.
I like
about it.
Tyreek Hill. Okay, it's Tua wearing number 1, who was Garo Yepremian's number during the perfect season, and Garo Yepremian threw one of the most infamous passes ever in Super Bowl 7, which was intercepted and run back for a touchdown. If not, if they would have had his kick block, Miami would have won the Super Bowl against the Redskins 17-0.
Shut out.
And they would have finished 17-0, So.
Is this like ingrained into Cuban Miami? Because I heard Andy Garcia on with Rich Eisen the other day. And another Cuban, Andy Garcia.
Yeah,
and Andy talks about how he was, big Dolphins guy and all that kind of stuff. And he said that same damn story about Garo Yepremian.
Yeah.
And the whole they would have won 17-0.
One of the most famous plays in Super Bowl history.
It is. Which is so the shirt that my dad is referencing is he bought some Instagram ad shirt with it was like a perfect season.
Yeah.
Shirt.
Oh yeah. I gave it to myself on Christmas.
Yeah.
Hey, look.
Yeah.
Hey, look. Wait a minute.
Was it from El Nino?
No.
No, it's El Nene. Which would be my brother, because again, that was the one that ended. That one broke my brain. My dad has given himself gifts from dead relatives. My dad has given himself gifts, but this one was a new one in that he gave himself a gift and he labeled it from not my brother, but a time traveling version of my baby brother from back in the day. That broke my brain.
Fernando's very.
Wait a minute.
Very inventive.
I believe it was Nandi that gave it to me, not Nene. Nandi.
No, you did one.
Who is Nandi?
No, you
Who
are.
is Nandi?
You are Nandi.
Okay,
that was your nickname.
That was my mother used
that
to call
abuela gave to you.
Yeah, that's
Got
it.
that.
It was from Nandi to me.
So hold up. You also gave yourself a gift from the concept of you as a nickname?
Yeah. Yes. You read it wrong,
No, you did one from David too.
Well, but it was something. It was something else. It was not the shirt. It was not the perfect season shirt. Look. I was used to getting my presents on January 6th, which is when the 3 wise men show up.
Yeah.
So, and this was in Cuba. Yeah. I got an electric train. I got my father, without me knowing, made me a miniature pool table. So I would get good gifts, because we were middle class. Then I get here on Christmas Day, 1961. we stayed with one of my dad's ex-employees, and his kids got gifts. I got 0 gifts. And that started a trend of, I will get.
I mean, they just, to context,
a ball and a gun.
My dad,
I would get.
Context.
I was poor.
My dad had left Cuba. He had to spend how many months in Spain?
3 months.
3 months in Spain, and
3
then you arrive in Florida on Christmas Day.
Christmas Day,
you're missing some key steps. Abuelo and Abuela were kind of busy getting your ass to freedom.
Yeah.
I think the greatest gift you got on Christmas Day that day was freedom.
Yes.
So you know what? I think it's okay, Dad.
It's okay, but then
you get gifts but then on Christmas. You got the greatest gift of all.
No, but
America.
No, but let me finish. But on January 6th, 1962, my dad did some odd jobs. Yeah, and he bought me a Lionel train, which I still have, a Lionel train set, and a Ford Apache from Mark's with $20.
Yeah, you still had that thing.
Yeah, too. I still have them.
Do you still have the Ford Apache?
Yes, I still have the Ford Apache too.
Okay. It's not worth it.
When I die,
it was a plastic,
the Mark's Toy Soldiers.
Yeah, it's these little plastic toy. It was Cowboys and Indians. Ford Apache,
and the Lionel train.
And unfortunately, I played with it, so that thing is worthless now. It's not.
No, it's not. I painted
item.
it for a junior high school project, the train, so it's worthless because of me.
Oh, okay.
That was before you were even born.
Gotcha.
I was in junior high. I hadn't even met your mother. But anyway, so we went through lean times. Then IBM gave me a job. In Boca, and then I'm not going to say your nickname.
You can say my nickname. It's fine.
I'm not. Let them figure it out. Because I've said it before.
Okay.
And we thought you were an only child, and we spoiled him. We took him to Disney World. Like
he got to go to Cardinal Gibbons.
Yeah. When he came here, because all the IBMers who went and who were putting their kids in Cardinal Gibbons.
And then they didn't get to go to Cardinal Gibbons.
No, well,
because he was smart. He
got
into magnet school.
Didn't have a robotics.
Yeah, robotics. That's what.
That was by choice, and it wasn't.
Remember, D is for diploma, rocket scientist.
Right, a little bit different.
Yeah, okay.
Got it. But somebody's putting rockets in the air, and I'm just launching the shuttle.
We're launching the shuttle.
I'm doing a podcast.
I should have brought the. No, and I'm not going to say anything. I'll tell you. I'll tell you guys off.
You got a prediction
about the space brownie.
That's brownie. Okay.
A prediction
for Monday. The number keeps moving the other way. Miami's getting 8.5 now.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Howard Schnellenberger, speaking of 83.
Like I said, I don't like to make I don't like to bet on sports. You know that.
Okay.
Because I like to bet on horses.
Horses or highlight.
Yeah. Well, it's gone.
Oh, man. You can't bet on the highlight anymore?
No, there's no highlight.
Oh, boo.
Wait, they got rid of the Dania highlight and all that?
Yes, and Miami Highlight is now a casino.
Oh, I didn't know.
Like with only machines. The only casino that has live people is the Hard Rock.
Hard Rock.
Yeah.
Okay. They run the whole state.
Well, they're the only ones that are allowed to have you bet.
Familiar. Yes, I'm familiar.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Joe knows.
Yeah.
Joe knows.
So I mean, what can I say? I'm going to just watch the game. I'm going to believe in 1983. That's why I'm wearing my 1983 hat. And hopefully the same thing happens. History repeats itself.
Okay.
If they don't make it, then all these chains got broken. Odd years. And then, but it could be because of Mendoza because he's Cuban. But no, I mean,
I like that.
That's the only curveball.
Cuban from Miami too. So,
excuse me. Most original Cubans are from Miami.
I like that.
If you go somewhere else,
of course, my dad would also like to say you're not a real Cuban unless you came off the island. So Mendoza, he's a fake Cuban.
See, I'm Cuban born.
Yeah, he's fake
Cuban bred.
Yeah.
Cuban bred.
Yeah, or like the hat says, American made from the finest Cuban parts.
Yeah.
So, see, there you go.
Yeah. I remember that hat.
Your camera froze for some reason, so it's just kind of sitting there. I don't know why that's the case, but that's neither here nor there.
So hopefully Miami wins, but if they don't, I'm okay.
Okay.
Because, there was a Cuban involved on the other side.
There's all sorts of Cubans involved, including Mark Cuban, since he's helped out with NIL stuff for Indiana.
But Mark Cuban
is not Cuban.
He's not Cuban.
But his last name is Cuban.
Yeah.
How about that?
He's an honorary Cuban, maybe.
There you go. I'll be watching.
Nominal.
I'll be watching on a plane coming back from Salt Lake City. So
that's right. That's right.
That's how I'll be watching the game.
That's right.
So we'll see what happens.
Let's hope you bring a championship home.
I would maybe a double championship, maybe a My Hockey championship and a Miami championship.
Oh, okay.
We'll see. Maybe a double on Monday. Who's to say? Because the championship would be on a Monday.
Double trouble.
Double trouble. Cubans just winning everywhere.
All right.
How about that? All right, Dad. Have fun.
Thanks for having me.
Big thanks to our friends at Miller Lending. Gordon Miller and the crew are going to make sure that you're making the right decisions when it comes to financing your house or using the equity in your home. You might have some questions because you hear spots talking about really low APRs. What does that mean exactly? Is the actual rate, are you actually going to get that rate? What's the catch, right? No catches with Miller Lending. So check them out online at millerlending.com or call them directly at 919-447-3377. Just have the conversation. Might find out that it doesn't make sense for you to refinance right now, but our friends at Miller Lending will tell you when it's the right time to refinance or find creative ways to use the equity in your home for projects in the house. So call them 919-447-3377. Big thanks to our friends at Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. You can check them out online at bugsbite.com. You can bundle and save. It's not too early to start thinking about the spring. You know how it is. I know we're in the middle of meteorological spring, or winter. I can say that 10 times fast. Meteorological winter, which means we're a hell of a lot closer to more daylight and a hell of a lot closer to warmer weather and a lot closer to hanging out in your backyard. So start thinking about that. Maybe misting systems to keep the bugs away while you're enjoying your patio. In the meantime, maybe you got a moisture problem. Super dry out right now, but those moisture problems are appearing in your crawl space. Bugsbite.com. They can help you out with that. So check them out online, bugsbite.com. And of course, Matt Davis over at State Farm. InsureGarner.com is the website, 919-779-8277. Oftentimes we talk about taking care of your house, fixing your grill, cleaning it up, like all those types of things, outfitting yourself. You're spending money. You can't always spend money, though. What's going to look like when you retire? Yes, you can save money on home and auto with our friends Matt Davis at State Farm, but they can also help you with financial planning. Set goals, achieve those goals. Matt Davis can help you with that. So contact him today at InsureGarner.com or call him directly at 919-779-8277. All right, let's get out of here with some Hey Joe. Let's go back to the OG Sports.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
All right, let's go to a 336.
Good morning, Joes. Seeing Giglio in the fur coat and the chain and the slick back hair and the glasses, that's the perfect mantra for his Joey Giggs character. Come ACC time and coaching search time. Love the show.
So John came up with a new one.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh!
If you're watching on YouTube,
What are you doing?
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm actually interested in how he got how I can pull off that audio visual trick of my hand coming through the camera to be on the cork board in the back. But that's neither here nor there. So John went back into the AI machine and he produced me in a blinged out with chain and rings fit. I'd love to know where I got that hair. I would love for my hair to look like that again.
Turkey.
Hey, if I'm gone for a week, then you know why. Then meanwhile, you've got the fur coat on, some gold. There's a lot of rocks in that glass for that brown liquor you're drinking. That's a lot of rocks. Couldn't be me, but yes, whatever. So yeah, that's a good look. That's a good look. I appreciate that, John. Thank you.
That's good.
Thank you. All right, let's go back to the sports phone. Do a 252.
Hey, Ovies and Giglio, it's your boy, Young Graham, a.k.a. Childish Gambino, a.k.a. the Instagram, a.k.a. Graham Hill. And I just want to take a second to acknowledge Giglio's take on today's podcast, or maybe yesterday's podcast, if you're playing it on Tuesday's edition. Anyways, Giglio, you were spot on when it comes to Eagles fans. for a fan base that has just won a Super Bowl, they are the most insufferable and selfish fan base I've ever seen. And I can say this, I live with an Eagles fan, and it has been miserable listening to him moan and complain during every game this year. Meanwhile, I'm a Panthers fan. And I get that we got to go to the playoffs this year, but my gosh, you just won the Super Bowl last year. How bad can it really be? Also, too, Eagles fans are the worst. You have a bar in downtown Raleigh that literally gatekeeps other fans from watching games at their bar and will kick you out if you go in there wearing another team's jersey and won't let you in. Philadelphia Freedom, my butt crack. All right, literally the worst fan base. And also, all these Philly fans are always like, oh, it's Philly sports against the world. We don't care what everybody thinks. You literally care what everybody thinks. When everybody has something bad to say about you, or says Jalen Hurts is not that good of a quarterback, or Nick Sirianni is not a good coach, you literally complain with everybody. So, Giglio, spot on. I applaud you. Thank you, Giglio. Ovies, I'm sorry that your family, that you had to marry into that with your family, okay? That's all I got.
I mean, how could you look at Sam Salvo? Look, I just appreciate that TV stations are taking
Man on the street
a cue from us by going and talking to fans after games.
Okay,
this is very, very smart of them. Love to see that they're on board with essentially.
Glad they got there.
Essentially taking phone calls after games. Who would have thought of that? Who would have thought to talk to the man on the street? But in this particular case, it's the kid on the street. This is a kid by the name of Sam Salvo. Okay. And this was after the loss. Here's what Sam has to say.
Yes, this was a huge letdown. This was my Christmas present, and I got a loss.
Oh, no. You probably would have rather had Cole, huh?
Yeah, probably. I'm feeling two of two things. A, I want A.J. Brown packing his bags, and I want him somewhere else that is not here. I love you, A.J., but, like, you can't make those drops in that game. And I also want Kevin Patullo flipping burgers at, like, the local McDonald's or something. I don't care.
Why do you say that?
Whenever he's an offensive coordinator, it's like he's flipping burgers. One side, he's cooking. One half, he's cooking. And the other half is completely raw. Yes, this was.
I believe the children are our future. Are you not always complaining about how do you reach the Utes? How do you get new fans? Well, in Philly, they're making little Sam Salvos wearing Carhartt and a beanie. And you know Sam's had his hand in the dirt.
I was just about to say, there's some stolen valor there with
Absolutely
that Carhartt.
not. I believe that Sam has actually done some manual labor in his Carhartt. Okay? In Philly, no less. That's a blue-collar town, Joe.
Inconsistent. No, it really is the Go Birds thing that bothers me the most.
Why does it bother you?
Because first of all, it's not in your DNA to act like you're nice to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not what Philly is. Philly isn't like this outgoing, welcoming city.
It's not.
That's not who you are.
I love the city, though.
So let's not act like you're on a boat somewhere waving to somebody else in a boat. Let's not act like all of a sudden
what are you talking about?
Let's not act like you're in a Jeep all of a sudden and you're waving at everybody else in a Jeep.
No.
Okay.
I went to Casapoulas in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. And a nice, kind old man's getting his Italian sub, and I'm waiting for my Italian sub. And he just says, as he's walking out with his subs, he goes, "Go Birds." Who says no to that?
I say no because that's not your DNA as a Philly fan.
Okay.
To be randomly nice to strangers. That is not your DNA. There was a jail and a judge in the vet. Okay. That's your DNA. Not randomly like bonding with strangers over your team. Second of all, I'm 50 years old. I grew up with a handful of Eagles fans. Not once before 2025 had I ever heard it uttered that the Eagles were the, quote, birds. Okay? I've never heard this Go Birds pre-2000 whatever.
It's pre-2017. I would agree that I don't really recall hearing Go Birds until about that first Super Bowl. Now it's just a mantra.
Don't let me get the original Eagle on here, Bunting, okay, and ask him if he's ever heard Go Birds.
Maybe he did. I don't know.
Give me a break. Hey, you want to be assholes? I totally respect that. But don't give me like this. Again, there's no cute sweet to Philly. So you don't get to act cute sweet by being at the grocery store or being at the street or being at the steak shop and saying, "Go Birds."
No, I feel like you're misinterpreting Go Birds. Go Birds is very versatile. It's kind of like the word fuck. Okay. You could use that
You
word.
think Go Birds is there, bless your heart?
Yeah, it can be. It's a very versatile word. Sometimes you can do it as an FU. Go Birds. Okay. There's ways to do it. It's all in the inflection of how you say it. And again, I'm not acting like I know Philly. Okay. And I'm not acting as though Delaware is in the same boat as
Well, it's
Philly.
like Jersey, New York City.
But it's like Jersey, New York City.
Hey.
You're around it
South
enough.
Jersey too is all Philly.
You're around it enough. And I will say that much like Stolen Valor of a Carhartt, I've spent some time in Philly, Joe, for hockey tournaments. Now, I will say Philly is an underrated town. Philly's an underrated town.
Much like my takes on Boston,
Great
fans
bars.
and the city itself. They're two different things.
Great bars, great restaurants, a whole shit ton of stuff to do in Philadelphia. Okay.
Absolutely.
Big fan of Philadelphia as a city. And I like the vibe. And the reason why I like the vibe of Philly is because, and why I can't get enough of WIP, is because it's like the last real sports town. The last real Northeast Corridor sports town where they don't spend all this time trying to like New York has gotten soft, in my opinion. In DC, it's like we're all bandwagoning unless we're talking about the football team, right? In Philly, man, we got guys calling up the WIP, still talking about Dick Vermeil and how they're mad about shit he did back in the day. Okay?
He was a quitter.
Right. When last time I was I was listening to WIP, I was driving around Philly, and it was when the Phillies got knocked out, the Eagles embarrassed themselves against the Giants, right?
It was like a Sunday night game or a Monday night game.
Yeah, and then the Flyers were still catching strays. Like the Flyers are essentially the Dave Dorn of Philly Sports Talk Radio. They're constantly catching strays. So to me, I think Philadelphia is like the last standing actual sports city where the fans, even when they win, are miserable. I think that's great. I think it's old school. It's a holdout. I like it. In New York,
there's something to be said for
New
that.
York, and like the Knicks win a couple of games, and suddenly it was bing bong, bing bong. I'm like,
Right.
what have you done?
Oh, this year is going to be something else. The East is so bad, dude. It's so
No,
bad.
I know. But you see what I'm getting at with Philly? Now,
No, I can respect that they can be miserable when they win, but what I'm getting at with you, what I'm trying to say to you is the Go Birds is incongruent to their DNA.
I would rather hear.
That's what I'm.
I would rather hear Go Birds than here's a card table that I'm going to jump through.
Oh, the Bills?
I think the Bills fans are actually the worst, in my opinion.
No,
Worse than Eagles fans.
Come on,
Worse than
what do
Eagles
Bills fans have other than dildos and broken tables?
Yeah, dildos, broken tables, and other videos that I can't speak of or I can't show because I'll get flagged.
On.
What about it? And I'll be
They have nothing
I'll
else.
be in Buffalo in a month.
They have nothing else.
They got wings.
They don't. That place closes at like 9:30.
Oh, what, Anchor Bar does?
Yes.
Jeez.
I'm telling you.
And of course, they're not going to win this year. It's right there for them, so they're going to be even more miserable.
The farm system that is the Buffalo Sabres.
So you think that now, if I say that Philly is the last bastion of old school Northeast Corridor sports,
Yeah. I'm okay with that take. I'm okay with that take.
And that's why I have an appreciation for
Yeah.
Philly.
Yeah.
Would the Bills be the last actual cursed team that if you're a Bills fan and you hear Panthers fans going, it's been since 2017 since we hosted a playoff game? Cool. Philly, Eagles fans. Oh, we won the Super Bowl last year. I can't believe it. You should be flipping burgers. Cool. Is Buffalo the actual last cursed sports city?
Yeah, because everyone else has a title in another sport, right? Like, so Detroit, you have the Red Wings, you have the Pistons this century.
Yes.
Right? Cleveland.
Didn't the Tigers win?
Not this century.
No, not this century.
You have Cleveland, you don't have the Browns, but you had LeBron.
Got LeBron.
Right?
Yeah.
So
One of the greatest comebacks in all sports history.
There's only two left. And they could not be more diametrically opposed.
Okay.
You have Buffalo, as you mentioned, because it's the Sabres and the Bills. And lots of close calls. The other is San Diego. San Diego's never won anything.
Mm-hmm. Nobody cares in San Diego.
Because it's the perfect city. It's
Right.
the perfect weather.
People
You're like,
always talk about,
it's like
Miami.
It's like a shrug.
I mean, I should have brought that up with my dad. It's like, because people will say that about Miami as a sports town. Like, well, why would I go to a game when I can go to the beach? I'm like, no, you don't understand. There are days in Miami where it's just effing gross.
Yeah.
And what you want to do is you want to go into a Miami Heat game where it's air conditioned.
Yeah.
You want to go
Panthers
to
make a
Panthers
ride up
game,
to Fort
right?
Lauderdale.
Anyway,
So to me, those are two diametrically opposed, to the point with San Diego where they lost their team. And this isn't Cleveland losing their team to Baltimore and then watching the Ravens win the Super Bowl. Like, I feel like the Chargers are still carrying the San Diego curse with them to Los Angeles.
Okay.
So those are the two cities.
I will grant.
And I hear Hayes Permar now texting me, Charlotte, Giglio. Charlotte's never won anything. It's fair. I mean, it's fair, but it only goes back to 88, right? The Hornets' first year is 88?
Yeah.
That's not long enough.
No, it's not long enough.
That's not long enough.
I'm sorry. Did the Panthers go to 4 straight Super Bowls
No.
and lose them all?
No, now they've lost twice, but not 4 in a row.
Not 4 in a row.
So let's go back to yesterday,
Mhm.
because I'm listening and you go, well, why are the Bills cursed?
Yeah, why are they
How are
cursed?
the Bills cursed? I want you to try to think about this in the 2026 lens.
Music
Okay.
City Miracle. What?
Oh,
What? How are they cursed?
I don't even have that on my list.
Oh, you don't even have
I
that
don't even
one
have
on
the
there?
miracle on my list. Super Bowl 25. You have to remember they were the best. They were the war machine.
Yes.
They were the best team in the NFL.
Absolutely.
They lost on a 47-yard field goal.
Yeah.
Like in 2025-26 standards, you're like, they missed what? That's a chip shot. What are you talking about?
Mhm.
Very next year, still the best team in the NFL. They get right back to the Super Bowl, which is really hard to do after losing the Super Bowl. Their best player, Thurman Thomas, who was the best player in the NFL, literally lost his helmet at kickoff. Could not find his helmet.
Yeah.
Was not ready to play in Super Bowl 26.
Yeah.
Then there was the Music City Miracle, which I just glossed over.
Yeah.
Then there's also a couple of Sabres years in there that I'm going to gloss over
Mhm.
for the sake of Buffalo fans. Let's just get to the trilogy. Why are the Bills cursed? Let's just get to the trilogy of Chief losses. 2021 in Kansas City, they're up 13 seconds left.
Mhm.
13 seconds, and they somehow fritter that thing away. Sean McDermott never should have coached another game again. After that, for them, that's neither here nor there. 23, they get, all we got to do is get the Chiefs here.
Yeah.
Get them at home.
It's that simple.
Tyler Bass misses a 44-yard field goal. And then last year, the phantom first down call that the Chiefs are granted, even though it was really not a first down. So they lose again
Mhm.
to the Chiefs. They have 3 snake-bitten losses to the Chiefs. They have 2 in the Super Bowl. The other 2 to the Cowboys. The Cowboys were the best team. I mean, we can't parse that. But yes, how are the Bills cursed, Joe?
How are the Bills cursed? Well, all right.
They had a player die on national television, and he was thankfully brought back to life.
He did come back. He's with us. He's with us, thankfully. That took a tangent. All right. On that note,
I mean, if you want to say how they're cursed,
all right, no, yeah, but fine. But we can. So to close this conversation, we can agree that you understand my point on Philly.
I do,
and I
respect that they are still win and are still miserable. I respect that.
I get where we're coming from on the Bills.
And as to not apologize to Pup because I mean he's an avatar for Philly fans right now. I'll tell you the one I'm really mad at is the other Joe Giglio, because I saw my guy Trey Turner at the Florida State game. Was it
Joe Giglio, who literally is the other Joe Giglio who works at WIP in Philly
and has like a jihad against Trey Turner?
He cannot stand Trey Turner.
So when I saw Trey, I was like, "Hey man, you understand there are 2 Joe Giglios?" Like, yeah, no. We're good, man. But we were chopping it up. We were having a great time. And I'm like, that's where I was getting my heckles up about Philly fans and my guy Trey. Because even Steve Young, the statiest of state fans, doesn't like Trey Turner. I'm like, what is your problem? Like, why can't you just support a player? I don't understand.
When it comes to Steve, that's just an open-ended question. What is your problem?
Oh, he sent me like the entire
his itinerary from driving.
Because this is a great Hey Joe question. Hey Joe, do you include both legs of the trip when you talk about how long you have to drive? If we were going to DC, I would say we had to drive 4.5 hours.
I only include
the one leg.
The one leg.
Yeah, he includes both legs. That's what that's what his math included.
I'm sitting here doing the mental math on: do I fly to Buffalo in February or do I drive to Buffalo in February?
You don't want to drive to Buffalo. You do not.
I drove to Detroit,
but that's a straight shot on the highways, right?
What to Detroit? Yeah. Yeah, it's a straight shot.
Once you get over 71 or 81 or whatever it is.
Once you get
77,
through,
81.
once you get New River Gorge area and through the mountains, it's a straight shot.
It's all interstate.
Yeah.
Buffalo.
No?
Not interstate.
All right. Well, I guess I'll fly then. Oh,
Buffalo.
Shit. My dad left. I got to hit him up. Hey, Dad. You want to buy some airplane? You want to go to Buffalo?
Hey,
Dad.
No reason.
Hey, you want to go to Buffalo? Hey, so
hey, we'll go to Toronto.
Hey.
We'll make a run.
Hey, right? You like to gamble? Anyway, let's go wrap it up for today's show. You're not here tomorrow.
I'm not.
Dimitri Ravanos will be in the house. Mike Maniscalco will join us as well. I'm just going to roast Dimitri all day.
Why?
So 3 years with no SEC teams in the championship. What's wrong? Why is the SEC broken? Like, now that money's flowing. Weird. We'll see you then.
It's got takes on that too.